Are Tottenham about to upset a lot of their fans by buying a striker who scored 19 Premier League goals last season, as well as potentially the captain of Scotland? Meanwhile, Aston Villa have had a bid accepted for Belgium's record goal scorer, and Mourinho is looking to steal one of Manchester United's FA Cup winners. All this and more on today's daily Premier League transfer news with me, Barnaby Slater. Guys, thank you so much as ever for watching and listening wherever you are. Please do press that like, press the subscribe button as well. Yesterday, you guys helped me smash through the 10,000 subscriber mark. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed already, please do press that subscribe button. I'm now on the hunt. Let's get to 20,000. So if you're already a subscriber, tell your friends, tell your family, anyone who might like kind of Spurs-based daily news, but also during this summer, transfer news as well. And let's get up to 20,000 subscribers. Also, you can become a member of my channel. Only £1 a month really helps support me to make this daily content for you. All the details of how to do that in the description box below. But let's get started. And as ever, starting with Tottenham Hotspur. And there is a bit of a rebellion amongst the Spurs fan base. After late last night, it was revealed from multiple sources that Tottenham are exploring a move for Bournemouth's Dominic Solanke. Apparently, it's a difficult deal to do because, of course, he's absolutely a mainstay, probably the most important player for Bournemouth. But Spurs are exploring options to bring in a new striker and potentially a new winger. This is another one from Fabrizio Romano. And based on opportunities, apparently. Now, a lot of people getting annoyed. What does that mean, based on opportunities? People who are annoyed and angry about Spurs for not having bought anyone yet would say, why are we looking on based on opportunities? Why don't we just go out and get whoever's on our list? Well, what I would personally say opportunities mean is that there is a long list of players at various different prices, and also based on who is available, depending on whether clubs are willing to let them go, depending on whether clubs are trying to replace them first, depending on whether they have release clauses or not. So as we kind of really learned under Fabio Paratici when he started, there's not just, two players that we want and we have to get them. There's a list of potentials. And I think that, personally, is what I think it means when someone like Fabrizio Romano says based on opportunities. Anyway, Dominic Solanke's contract apparently has a £65 million release clause in it. That is according to The Athletic. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this rumour. I would say there has been not a great deal of excitement about it, but what I would tell you is a lot of the kind of Spurs journalists and podcasters that I really respect, especially the ones who have more of a tactical bent, a lot of them talk about how well suited Dominic Solanke would be to our system. He scores a lot of his goals from kind of cutbacks from the byline, which we know is such a mainstay of Ange Postecoglou's style and system. And he's also a real workhorse, an elite presser of the ball. And one thing I would say about Richarlison, I do love him. I think he's a great guy, great player. But what I would say as a number 9 is he's not the hardest worker. He can work really hard, but then when he gets a tackle and he chooses to stay on the ground and he sulks a little bit, I feel that can kind of drop his game off about 5 or 10%. So look, is Solanke very much at the top of my list? I would say no. But what I'd say is, he did score 19 goals last season for a Bournemouth team who started very badly, but then under Areola really improved and started playing some good football. And he is a good finisher. Did really brilliantly in the England unders sides, didn't he? I guess, playing devil's advocate, some people would say, well, why didn't he get a sniff of getting in the Euro squad ahead of, say, Ivan Toney? And I think that's interesting. And I would say if Spurs are going to go for Solanke ahead of, say, an Ivan Toney, then that must be based on attitude. They must think that Solanke will fit in better with the group, fit in better with the squad. And he does seem to be that kind of player. Obviously, on the flip side of that, he has been at Chelsea before, he's been at Liverpool before and never really broke through. And his scoring record overall in the Premier League, I think because of that, because he was a young player at those teams and he got mainly kind of substitute appearances, his overall scoring record is not great. But last season, when he was the main man and playing in a kind of progressive, forward-thinking team under Bournemouth's new manager, he scored 19 Premier League goals, and that is not to be sniffed at. So yeah, I realise this is a difficult one for Spurs fans. As I said, let me know in the comments what you think about it. I will try and reply to all all of your comments. Ali Gold from Football.London gave his opinion on it last night. He said, as I've reported previously, Spurs have long liked Dominic Solanke. Rob Guest and myself have spoken frequently on our podcast, which is Guest and Gold Talk Tottenham. Make sure you follow that if you don't already. We talked frequently on the podcast about how well we think he'd suit the Postecoglou system, finishing off all of the moves. He would be big money, homegrown and difficult to sign, but he'd work well. Well, the other thing about Solanke that I like is he's a big guy. He's relatively quick. He can hold up the ball, good in the air as well. So he brings a lot, possibly. And look, it's no coincidence that Spurs are really sniffing around the homegrown kind of Premier League proven market this summer. I think that's not just because we need more homegrown players, but also because I think Ange wants players who will fit right in and assimilate quickly, be integrated quickly into the squad and into the Premier League. Whereas I know a lot of you are talking in the comments about why aren't we going for Gyökeres potentially instead of a Solanke? But maybe there's a risk there. Yes, he scored goals in Portugal and he did score goals in the Championship for Coventry, but no Premier League experience. I don't know. That's just my thought. Let me know what you think in the comments. Another rumour yesterday from Duncan Castles that, again, is not exciting the Spurs fan base is that we are interested, alongside Fulham, in signing Man United midfielder Scott McTominay, the Scotland captain. Now, I have to say, whenever I've watched McTominay for Man United, I know he gets fearful abuse. He seems to always pop up with an important goal, but they are clearly ready to let him go. I think United try and play him in a 6, but he seems to actually do much better for them when he's playing in an 8. And for me, maybe this is one of those ones, again, like we've talked about with Conor Gallagher or Jacob Ramsey, where Postecoglou and the recruitment team are looking at players who can help us defensively on the transition, players who have legs, who will work harder than Yves Bissouma does when we lose the ball. I think Bissouma is a brilliant player on the ball, brilliant on the half turn, loves to take it under pressure. But as we saw last season, one thing that he has been caught out on time and time again is when he loses the ball or we lose the ball high up the pitch in the opposition final third, he doesn't really sprint back. He doesn't have the pace to get back quick enough. And that is something that we really need. And that is, for me, the only reason that I can envisage that we are potentially interested in Scott McTominay. But I will admit to you, it's not necessarily a signing that fills me with excitement. Let me know how you feel about potentially getting McTominay in the comments below. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if that one happened, but there are some serious reports about it yesterday. Meanwhile, another rumour from Italy, La Stampa this time, that Spurs apparently still in talks with Federico Chiesa alongside Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United. His agent is trying to establish which club will come forward with a concrete offer. My instinct is that this is very much agent talk. Ali Gold has said before, having kind of pressed his contacts within Tottenham Hotspur, that he doesn't think that Spurs are interested in Chiesa. It seems to me that Chiesa knows that Juventus want to get 20 million euros for him and they are trying to drum up interest in a move. I cannot see that one happening. Some more rumours on Pedro Neto I spoke about in depth in yesterday's video. Thank you for all your comments on those on that as well. Kind of a lot of people saying that the fact that Pedro Neto only played 28% of the games for Wolves in the last 3 years because of injuries is something that warns you off buying him. Well, apparently Spurs made important progress regarding the potential signing of Neto in the last 24 hours. Club sources suggest that personal terms are close to being agreed. Spurs have offered a 5-year contract until June 2029, worth £5 million a season. Spurs looking to negotiate Wolves' £60 million price tag in the next few days and hope to complete the deal before the start of the Premier League season. Pedro Neto's agent, Jorge Mendes, a super agent, I believe he's known as, is playing an important part in the deal, apparently, working to get Neto to Spurs. Well, clearly, Neto is an unbelievably talented player. He seems to always play against Spurs, so we're in that 28% of games, and he scores against us, sets goals up, wins penalties against us. But, as you guys have said in the comments, it is dangerous buying someone who plays so little. We've obviously just got Ryan Sessegnon off the books, and he was unable to really reach his potential because of injuries. And it would be very disappointing if we paid big money for Neto and then he got injured straight away. And you could kind of see that happening. So I do understand some of your worries about it. If there are any of you who think Neto would be a great signing and have reasons why, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely reply to you there as well. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest are looking to cash in apparently on 24-year-old English midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White has been on Spurs' list for a long time now, back as far as January. Like I said, he's 24 now, but also there's interest from Newcastle, Arsenal, Aston Villa and Chelsea. If Forest are going to sell him, they will be looking for a similar fee, I think, to Pedro Neto, kind of upwards of £50 million. I do like Morgan Gibbs-White, another creator. I do wonder with some of these rumours whether Ange Postecoglou is starting to wonder about James Maddison's form and fitness, by which I mean his form since his injury last season, where he's never really hit the heights. And I have to say, in pre-season this season, he's flattered to deceive so far. He looked kind of good in the first two games where, in terms of taking the ball in difficult areas, coming to get it as the quarterback all the time, trying to manipulate it, but his passing has just been a bit off. He's given the ball away a number of times, and that's just not very Maddison-esque. So I do wonder whether Ange is seriously thinking about trying to get competition in for James Maddison so he can use him a little more sparingly as he gets back up to full fitness. Let me know what you think of Maddison's pre-season so far in the comments below. More talk from Duncan Castles yesterday about the possibility of Amanda Staveley, the former CEO of Newcastle, who left Newcastle just a few weeks ago. She is apparently raising money to purchase a Premier League club, with her primary target apparently being Spurs. She sees Spurs as the most attractive of the assets for external investors at present, and we do know that Daniel Levy and ENIC are looking for investment. Amanda Staveley won't get to buy the club outright. I don't think Levy and ENIC have any interest in that. But in terms of looking for cash, and Staveley has unbelievable connections in the Middle East, that could well be a possibility. Obviously, she was the person who put together both the Abu Dhabi deal to take over at Man City, kind of 15 odd years ago, and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia deal to take over Newcastle. Let me know what you think about that. Do you want Middle Eastern money at Tottenham? Do you want us to be potentially, in the long term, taken over by a nation state or an oil state? I feel very, very awkward about it personally. It doesn't sit right with me, but I guess playing devil's advocate to that, you know, are ENIC a great business? Joe Lewis just got found guilty of insider dealing, you know, so really when you're talking about billionaires, when you're talking about people who make that much money and get to the very top of their industry, they're always likely to have some skeletons in the closet. But I don't know. I'm not really into the idea of sports washing and stuff like that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Once again, still just about waiting for the Emerson Royal deal to AC Milan to go through, but according to Sport Media Set, the deal has been agreed. 15 million euros plus a further 3 million euros in bonus. If that is indeed the case, and Emerson Royal gets to leave to AC Milan in the next few days, I think it's a good number for us, 15 plus 3, and I thank you, Emerson Royal. You actually had a decent game the other night. And I'll talk more about that in a second, actually. But thank you for all your service, Emerson Royal. But don't be surprised if when tomorrow's first 11 is announced against Bayern Munich, Emerson Royal gets another shot at it, because we do not have a lot of centre-backs available in that squad out in Asia. Sergio Reguilon, I'm sure you've read, last night it was reported he's rejected numerous offers from other clubs. He wants to play for a club in European competition next season. Well, who doesn't, frankly? But maybe he's waiting for that move to Seville. Maybe that's what he means in particular. But I think Reguilon's not in a great position to kind of pick and choose exactly where he goes at the moment, other than the fact that obviously he's earning a huge wage at Tottenham Hotspur and can just sit on that. Maybe that's what he's doing, knowing that even if he doesn't get a move to a club in European competition anytime soon, at the end of the transfer window, Spurs will find a loan for him. So maybe he's in a good position that way. But if I were him, I know it's easy for me to say, but if I were Sergio Reguilon, I would be looking to rebuild my career now. Find somewhere where I can play and stay for a few years and get regular games. Because when we bought him from Real Madrid, he was so highly thought of. He'd had such an incredible season on loan at Seville, and he was really thought of as one of the potentially best fullbacks in the world. And his career has just dropped off, and I can't say exactly why, because he seemed like a good lad. But Reguilon clearly surplus to requirements at Tottenham Hotspur, and at some point soon he's going to have to make a choice as to where he goes. The reason I mentioned I'd talk more about Emerson Royal is because one of the players who played for the Team K-League All-Stars the other night, their fullback Choi Jun, was asked which Tottenham player was the most impressive when they played against them, and he said Emerson Royal. Everyone in the K-League team said Royal was the most impressive. He was a wall, defensively incredible. Well, one thing you'd say, and I do constantly say about Emerson Royal, is that he is a good defender. It's just that he is lacking going forward. And frankly, it shows that when you've got someone on the left-hand side like Jamie Donnelly, who's never played as a fullback in his life, but he's playing left-back now, and he's so good in those forward positions, that those half spaces he takes up in the kind of 8 and 10 and finding balls back and forth between him and Heung-min Son on the left. That is what we need in terms of our right backs too, and undoubtedly Jed Spence is more suited to that than Emerson Royal is, and that is why I think we're going to take that money, 15 million plus 3 in bonuses, from AC Milan. Fiorentina apparently are interested in taking Alejo Valise this season. Apparently in the coming days there could be an offer made to purchase the player. Now that's a translation, so I don't know realistically whether that's purchase on a full-time deal, which seems unlikely because he's only been around for about a year since we paid, I think, about £9-10 million for him. More likely maybe Fiorentina, who I think have been hemorrhaging a number of their players this summer. Selling players are probably looking for a young striker to develop, maybe on loan. So Valise to Fiorentina, keep an eye on that. This morning, Ange Postecoglou and Ben Davies done a very quick press conference before tomorrow's Bayern Munich friendly. A quote from Ange, he was asked about Heung-min Son's contract situation. Ange Postecoglou said, "That's not really my area. I've always, with contract situations, treated them all the same. Ben and Sonny are important players at the club, and we've got a young squad. When it comes to contract matters, that will get sorted out at the appropriate time." Meanwhile, Ben Davies was, like I said, also in the press conference, and he was asked about Eric Dyer playing for Bayern and about his own future. Ben Davies said, "It will be good to see Eric tomorrow. I'm glad he got the move he wanted. As for me, I haven't thought about what comes next for me. I've really enjoyed my 10 years at the club." I wouldn't say that sounds, like foolproof that Ben Davies thinks he's definitely going to stay at the club. But also, as I've said before, and I get a little bit of abuse for it, but I think Ben Davies, if it comes to it and is our fourth choice centre-back, that would be fine for me to play on the left. So the choices would be Dragushin, Van der Ven, Christian Romero and Ben Davies. It doesn't seem at the moment like Spurs are concentrating on getting in another centre half. They're more concentrating in midfield and attack. Ali Gold, if you don't follow Ali Gold on Twitter, make sure you do. Brilliant Spurs journalist, and on YouTube as well, where he's recently hit, I think, 60,000 subscribers. Well done, Alistair. He just released an interview with Destiny Udogie. So some quotes from that. On being back in training, Destiny said, "I think it's been honestly the best feeling after being out for so long. Being back with the boys is really nice, but this training is not easy. But I'm good. I feel better and I'm getting good. It's the first time I've been out for this long. So it wasn't easy, but my teammates were really great. They helped me a lot. I think the process is mental. You have to be ready because obviously it's not easy to be far away from the pitch. You just want to play football, but my family was with me and my teammates. Honestly, once we have Destiny Udogie back at left back, we'll be such a stronger team, both attackingly and defensively. I think Jamie Donnelly's done a brilliant job in pre-season, and it's great to see him improving and growing and learning. But Udogie is such a beast, one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League. And I think he even maybe made the team of the Premier League last season. He certainly made some pundits' team of the Premier League. Anyway, carrying on from the interview, he was asked about how he feels Jamie Donnelly has done covering for him. He said, "Honestly, he's been great. I know Jamie really well. He's an incredible player with a lot of quality, so I know what he can do, and he can be good in any position. I think what he's doing is good. I saw him against Team K-League, so he's performing well and he's doing great." Lovely to see that support for Jamie Donnelly. Destiny was asked how he's found the transition to being an inverted fullback under Ange Postecoglou. He says, "It's just about working in training with the staff. They teach me a lot of stuff, so I try to learn as much as I can about the game. We work on everything, in possession, without possession, and alone. When alone, I'm just trying to use my imagination. Like I put myself in the position and I try to turn and play. So far, I think it has been the hardest system I've played in because you have to attack and then you've got to come back. Lots of sprinting, so it's not easy, but the way we train, they bring us into the position to be ready, so we are ready. I'm a little bit of a work in progress, but I feel more comfortable, so I think I'm getting there." I'm loving these quotes from Destiny. Really grounded boy. Very exciting that we've got him at such a young age, I think. He was asked about the season ahead at Spurs. He said, "This season, I want to be the best I can be with the assists, the running, the scoring, helping my team, and everything. I have to improve in everything when it comes to defending and attacking. I mean, the way we play, we are always with the ball, so I have a lot of opportunities to score, to make assists, to attack. So I'll try to give my best to the team." And finally, he said, he was asked about our new signing, Yang Min-hyuk, who's obviously coming from the K-League in January. And we saw him kind of turn Emerson Royal, didn't we? And have a good kind of run in at goal and shot during that game against K-League All-Stars. But Destiny Udogie said the following. He said, "Obviously, he's a very young player, but I think you can see his quality. He's energetic, He's quick. He has the touch. So I think he can be good for us. So as I've said, just love that interview with Destiny Udogie. Very grounded. Such a talented player. He's another one alongside Van der Ven and Romero. I really expect to have kind of hopefully at least 4 years at Spurs. But I could see Udogie playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world, by which I mean Real Madrid, Barcelona level clubs in the future. He's that good. But hopefully by that time we'll be winning everything anyway. Brandon Austin has given some quotes, our reserve keeper, Brandon Austin, because he's just signed a new long-term contract at Spurs. And he was asked how he feels about it, despite the fact he's never made a competitive first-team appearance. Not yet. He did make one great save, actually, against the K-League the other night. But Brandon Austin said the following. He says, I think a career for a goalkeeper is different. For goalkeeper, I'm still fairly young. And I think with what we're building here at the club, conversations with the manager and what we do on a daily basis at the training ground, it's really exciting and really positive and something that I wanted to be a part of. I really see myself that I can fit in here and help to bring something really positive and bring success to the club. Obviously, it's a nice feeling to be offered that contract and to get that sorted. I'm really pleased with that. And looking forward to the next few years ahead. Ange Postecoglou obviously has great faith in him. The goalkeeping coaches, I think it's Rob Birch, isn't it? Obviously has great faith in him. They've given him a long-term deal. They feel like he can improve. And with Fraser Forster as our only real reserve keeper at the moment, there is a chance that if there's an injury or suspension to Guillermo Vicario, I think there's a great chance that Brandon Austin might get some minutes. There's an exciting young keeper who's out in Asia with the squad called Luka Gunter, who I've been impressed with the very little I've seen of him. He got a few minutes. I think it was maybe against QPR, and his distribution looks amazing. I do think in the modern day for goalkeeping, distribution is such a huge thing. Guys, before I get on to the other more wide-ranging Premier League transfer news at the moment, please, if you haven't already, press like on this video. It really helps it get up the algorithm and seen by more people. Also, please do press that subscribe button. As I said, I've just smashed through 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your report. Now I'm on the quest. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers as quickly as we possibly can. Get more Spurs fans and more transfer fans watching these videos. So if you haven't pressed subscribe, please press it. Or if you have, please tell some friends and family about this channel if they think they'd like the daily content. Also, you can become a member, only £1 a month. All the details in the description box. Really helps support me. Thank you so much. Let's get started with other Premier League transfer news at Aston Villa. They've reached a deal with Chelsea to sign Romelu Lukaku, but he is stalling because Lukaku is 31 years old now. He is desperate to move back to Italy from Chelsea on a full-term basis to join Napoli and play under Antonio Conte, one of the few players having played under Conte who wants to play for him more based on how much work he makes every player do in training. Meanwhile, at Old Trafford, well, kind of relevant to Old Trafford and Man United, Fenerbahce's new manager Jose Mourinho is pushing to convince Sofian Amrabat to join Fenerbahce. They've offered 10 million euros to Fiorentina for him. Obviously, Amrabat was on loan at Man United last season and had a pretty average season, I'd say, but then in the cup final against Man City, did a really brilliant job. And for me, I have to say, Amrabat is possibly the most archetypal Jose Mourinho player, maybe ever. Just a real workhorse, gets around the pitch and won't say boo to a goose, which is what Jose Mourinho wants. By which I mean, you know, actually, what I'd say about Amrabat is he can put in a tackle, but I can't see him. He's kind of similar to Højbjerg, is what I'm saying. Someone that Jose Mourinho would really love. Over to Newcastle, they have signed, it's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano this morning, 20-year-old talent William Osula from Sheffield United. The deal is worth £10 million. That is according to Sky Sports and, like I said, Fabrizio Romano. I don't know much about Osula, but what I did do when I heard about this yesterday is I texted it to my flatmate who supports Newcastle, and he said, who? And I don't know either, but £10 million, he must be a great talent. And one thing I'd say is Newcastle are investing in young talent, and I don't know whether that's possibly an option for hoping that he'll do well, and then they can sell him for more money when they need money for profit and sustainability rules next summer. Over to West Ham. Sky Sports Germany say that West Ham have made an initial offer of 25 million euros and add-ons for Niklas Füllkrug. Borussia Dortmund have not yet rejected the offer, but they are looking for 30 million euros all in. West Ham apparently won't pay that. The 31-year-old is keen to go to the London Stadium with immediate effect. He can sign a contract until 2027 with a one-year option with the same salary as he's being paid in Dortmund. West Ham, if Borussia Dortmund ask for too much and West Ham aren't willing to pay, they will move back to Aston Villa to try and finalise their deal with John Duran. Well, one thing I would say is West Ham fans on social media have not been happy about Niklas Füllkrug as a potential signing. And for a 31-year-old to pay nearly 30 million euros, that is a lot. Obviously, number 9s are very, very sparse in today's market. So, anyone who has a number 9 who is wanted by someone else will put the money up. Over to South London now, and Arsenal. They apparently, alongside Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, are looking at potentially buying Adrien Rabiot, who's a free agent after leaving Juventus. Rabiot, for me, comes with a lot of baggage. I've had a few people in my comments over the last few videos saying Spurs are interested in Rabiot. I cannot see Ange Postecoglou going for a player with Rabiot's baggage. He's obviously technically a brilliant footballer and has such incredible physicality as well. So I think he'd do well in the Premier League. But every journalist who I respect who has knowledge of French football just are like, Rabiot is Rabiot is Rabiot. Like, he just brings so much baggage to the table and has such a high opinion of himself that it doesn't always make him the favourite amongst his teammates. And finally, Tammy Abraham apparently getting closer to a move to AC Milan. They've offered a loan with an option to buy. West Ham were looking at Tammy Abraham a week or two ago, and apparently a few months ago Spurs had him on their list as well. But it looks like Tammy, the ex-Chelsea player and England international, is going to go to AC Milan. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Really appreciate it. Once again, press that like button. Press subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please do spread the word about the channel. On the race now, let's get us to 20,000 subscribers, seen by more Spurs fans, more people who want to know about daily Premier League news and transfers. And please do become a member. Only £1 a month. All the details in the description box below. Have a great weekend, and if you're a Spurs fan, looking forward to that Bayern Munich friendly tomorrow. I'll be hosting the watch along on We Are Tottenham TV, so get over there, subscribe to them, and let's see if Spurs can do some damage to a big European team. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.